Hey everyone, welcome to Completed Middleton. Well, nothing's ever complete. But for now, the garage is completely dialed, completely set up. It feels like mine, it feels like home, it feels like it should. So I'm gonna take you through a full tour of the garage here today, show you everything we've done, and show you what I still have planned, and show you what this masterpiece has become. It's the best garage I've ever done. So the elephant in the room, these guys. And the best part of the whole thing, dual 60. So these are 60 inches wide. The countertop is 41 and just shy of a half is perfection for me. I'm 6'2", turned out great. There is one thing I'm waiting for it to finish shrinking. I'll put a couple of more anchors in the front to pull the countertop down. Anytime you get a wooden top and there's changes in humidities, there's some shrinking that happens. But the top is from our friends at Blue Tree. They make these custom for us and garages all over the country. But this particular top is one piece. But this is a walnut finish. And it has Rubio monocoat top. And you can see I got some spilled little built hamber on here. There's a little bit of polish. I didn't wipe this down for the video. This is just kind of the patina that it starts to get. It'll start to get some scratches. Anytime you do a fancy wooden top, you'll have this sort of awkward period where you have to go from brand new, beautiful, fresh to patinaed. And so we're in that process now. And I try not to think too much about it. I usually put a towel down if I'm going to do something real greasy or dirty. But generally speaking, I mean, you can see I was polishing here this weekend. I can go and wipe this off. But the monocoat top coat is really useful and keeps the top looking nice. But back to my Rousseau cabinets. These, I think the color they call this is called sapphire blue. It kind of fits my It's pretty darn close to the OG lapis blue here. There's a couple of pieces I'm waiting for. There was a damaged cabinet here. This cabinet actually fell over at HQ, so I'm waiting on a couple of new pieces I had to order and a couple of new drawers, but the cabinet array is pretty darn close to perfection. We have 60-inch drawers in the front here, in the middle, and then we have dual 18s flanking those, and then 36 inches on the right and left. This array I'd actually designed for OGHQ, and I needed it in my house, and so I decided to bring it here instead. And then I get to live with what it's like to have a 60-inch wide drawer. In theory, it seems like a great idea to have a giant wide drawer, and I will tell you, in practice, it is great. So we've custom designed these for customers and for us on the OGHQ site. And so this combination, this setup actually works really well. Methodology here from storage perspective is to have tools in the center. And so I'm most of the way through my tool organization. This is my Weir screwdriver. I've got my Toma files, 8-tool, hex keys, some like NES thread, thread tools and stuff like that. Just trying to put like for like in the right drawer. Some Milwaukee pry bars, which I like a lot. If you care to see it, here's what I have in each drawer. Since they're 60-inch drawers, it's easy to open and show you. Gear wrench, Stahlvilla. I have Stahlvilla, torque wrenches, Hazette, Koken, and so this is a 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch drawer. You can see this organization, setting it up to where I've got labels on every single socket area. It takes quite a bit of time to do this, but now that it's done, it's like it just feels good. I tried not to bookend it so tightly that I couldn't add to it. I have some center punches I'd like to get, and so I have some room here. These drawers have 440-pound capacity. One of the coolest things about these from Rousseau, notice, I'm 220 pounds, 215 pounds or so, and there's almost no deflection even with the drawer loaded up. And then when you pull out this drawer, you can really feel the heft of it. There's probably, I don't know, 250 pounds in this drawer, but I have plenty of headroom, plenty of capacity. And we size these so that we could have a deep well, 1/2-inch socket on tool grid and still have it, fit the drawer. And so that's what Kyle from our design team and I sort of worked on this. Now, some of these really tall, things you have to lay down. But in general, what I was looking to be able to do was fit with a little bit of room to spare a 1/2-inch deep well and have it fit and have it not impede. We have a drawer full of Knipex, grip-on, scissors, a little bit of expansion room here. This is what I call my car drawer, so I have my specialty tools, lift blocks, I've got pick tools, plug-in tires. Hammers are here on the bottom, and they've given a tour. This is what you want to see. And then this is the next drawer to organize that I've got to get into. This is my park tool set here. I don't think I can fit all of this in this drawer, so I'll utilize some of the 18s. Over here will be Milwaukee and like home stuff, tape measures and things like that. Every single drawer, every single spot will have a place. This is my charging area for my cameras and my Milwaukee tools and my scan grip stuff. And so I'll have a place for everything that is either tool gridded or organized. Now these guys here on the sides are interesting. So if you have a closet, one of the problems of the closet is when you put things in the back, it's hard to get. And so Rousseau's idea is to create this, what they call their R2V design. So I've been kind of playing with how I'm going to organize this. This here, to me, makes a lot of sense here. So I've got my air tools, and I pull this out, and I have it right next to my air reel. And then I've got my vacuum tools here, right next to my vacuum reel. I mean, look at the size of this sucker here. And so I'm waiting on, I've got some of the new tool grid. I got to order some more of it. I don't think they've launched this officially yet, but these are some of the larger holders for Milwaukee. But I want this to have a holstered, specific position for each tool. And notice how I set my subwoofer up right at the edge of where the drawer opens so that my subwoofer doesn't hit. And then we've run, kind of run the wires so that we can clean it up. You can see Mike came up with this idea to run a sleeve to run power, and then we have our air running to the back closet here, and then having the uppers set up here. This cabinet I call my tester cabinet, but the uppers turned out really, really nice. I will put some under cabinet lighting on here. We're working on a new under cabinet lighting solution because the current one I guess has been discontinued. Notice how the uppers work. You simply flip it up. I actually like this a lot more than the Sonic style. The Sonic style just flips up and stays up, which kind of blocks your light. And so once I get under cabinet lighting here, I'll have really great light dispersion and not have these blocking when they're open. And so the last cabinet over here, this is the detailing cabinet for me. And so look how nice the R2V turns out. I'm having all my polishes here. But this makes this deep, wide cabinet, which would have normally been a closet, super, super useful. I've got my gallons here. And then, again, these are the same 440-pound capacity. And because these are bolted to the wall, I can still pull these out at the same time, and it's okay. So I've got my traceless and my CarPro stuff here. And then this drawer I haven't organized yet, but I got some bottles hanging out there. I got my microfiber towels in a drawer here, which is nice. Kyle will like this. He doesn't like your towels as exposed, so having them in drawers is a nice setup here, like so. And then down here are my pads, polishing pads. So I've got I've got a little bit of excess here in pads. I like to have a lot of pads, just in case. And so in finishing up the cabinets, I want to say this array without the top, I did a pricing exercise. I think it's like $30,800 and change. So if you bought just the cabinets, the uppers, the sides, the lowers, it's roughly 24 feet, I think it's 24 feet 8 inches, is 31 grand without, and you're gonna pay to ship it. So you're probably closer to 35,000 bucks to buy a cabinet array like this, which is like about as much as you could spend. I don't know that there's any more expensive cabinet. I'm sure there is something out there, but this would be the upper echelon of it's a very, very large array. If you did Sonic MSS Plus, I think it was 29 grand. If you did the Pro Slat array that was here before was 21,000. And the Sonic MSS system that we're developing is hopefully that same size, is going to be somewhere around 15 is the hope. And so we're trying to kind of cover the bases. I guess you could do a New Age or a Gladiator or something around this size as well. My guess is that would be sub 10,000 bucks. But this would be, again, I have a choice to buy a really nice car, like probably buy like a used Toyota Supra or something, versus a cabinet array. I'd choose the cabinet array because I use this and interact with this every single day. But this, again, remember, this is a life's dream. It's not really consistent with the level of house that we're in, but we usually put these in much higher end homes. But to spend 30,000 bucks on your cabinet array to store all of your expensive tools is certainly a bit over the top. But if you had bought two 60-inch Snap-on boxes, you'd spend more than that on two rolling tool boxes. So just to kind of put it into perspective, price. I don't share price with you to show off. I would want to know what would this cost if I was going to do it. So the next biggest thing in the garage is the flooring. And I actually just replaced this. I made a big mistake. I wasn't planning on doing as much construction as we did in here. And so my floor was kind of dirty. And I wanted it to be fresh and clean, and so I actually pulled it and swapped it. I had the white border, and I went back to black. But the nice thing about the flooring is that it always stays clean. Notice there's no clickety-clackiness to it. I washed a bunch of stuff in here, and so when you start to hear crunchiness from like sand and dirt that gets underneath the tile, that's when I know it's time to pop it out, sweep it out, and then put it back in. This is slate gray, is the base color. We're actually working on developing a color to match the sapphire blue. And then we have two custom grays, a light gray, kind of like a Nardo type color. And then we have a gray that's a shade lighter than this. But the flooring makes the garage, again, to me, this was a happy accident. I've never been a fan of plastic interlocking tiles, but the beauty of this is it always looks clean no matter what. I vacuum it maybe once a year. The next thing we can talk about is doing the tile, but I wanted to do the tile stacked instead of subwayed. It makes it look a little bit more modern. So you get the sort of rustic warmth of the top, my general sterile style of a garage with the grays, and then you put some modern little takes. We're kind of mixing some different styles in this garage, and I think it turned out great. I don't know, what do you think? Tell me in the comments. So the TV and setup here, I did something a little different. What I found is that I love to have my speakers, and I love great audio in the garage, but I love to have my speakers spread out. It's so that I get decent dispersion when I'm kind of walking around and working in the garage. But the problem when you do that is then if you use those speakers for the display, it just gets a little, especially with the echoiness of the garage is not a particularly good listening environment. You end up with, it just kind of sounds hollow. It's hard to hear some vocal at times. And so what I've decided to do, instead of running a center channel and having to buy a receiver and doing a lot more components, I'm running a dedicated separate Ambio Max sound bar. So the sound bar is connected to the TV. The TV is its own system. I have an Apple TV stuck up behind it display. And then my audio system is separate. Now, I do have it connected through HDMI eARC, and so I could run it through the speakers if I want to. But this is the new Node Icon, and I have it direct calibrated. The Node Icon feeds the two Dynaudio Core 59s that are on isoacoustic stands. These are a pair to 300 stands. And then the crazy, quad 9-inch high excursion Core sub. So this was what we would call our obsessed version of our audio package. We've narrowed it down to 4 packages, but I'm telling you, if you have cabinets and you have flooring and you have lighting and you have your tools, the next thing you need to get is a great display and some great audio. And so go to the audio section on the site, check those out. So audio, video, the wall, the whole thing, you know, just kind of fits together, and I think looks fantastic, sounds fantastic. So lighting in here, this is gonna change. I'm probably gonna have to tear this out here soon. These are Cree LS 8-foot and 4-foot fixtures in 5,000 Kelvin. I did 3 rows thinking that was going to be good enough, and I added the 5th. And so the row of lights in here, I want to say you're like $5,000 worth of lights. What I'm working on, because Cree has discontinued this 90 CRI version on us, and so we're working on developing a light that has a higher lumen per watt output. So you'd need less lights, it uses less power, and then I'm hoping to make it forward phase or triac dimming instead of 0 to 10 volt. A couple little quick things on the wall here. I did bring my Multitech cart from Rousseau. I just brought this week. I'm not sure. A garage this size, having a cart kind of feels like it's got too much going on here. I don't like all this stuff on the floor. I did put the quick jacks on the wall. I used them, and I tell you what, it was pretty easy to put them up there. So I kind of rolled it up, walked it in place, lifted it up, put it on the hook. I have to admit, it's pretty nice to have, as much as I've talked trash on quick jacks over the years. Lots of people ask about these. These are Steady Racks, and actually these are the previous gen. The newest version of Steady Racks are the ones that we now offer. They're really awesome. You can see, I mean, this bike, I want to say this bike is probably like 22, 23 pounds. You're not supposed to put it up this high, but I wanted it up high so that way I can pull my car in here and it's not in the way at all. And so you can see it's pretty easy. Now this is a pretty light mountain bike, but you know, a 23, 24 pound bike. I just lift it up, throw it back into position. So these are from Steady Rack, and like I said, we do have these in the store because so many people ask about them. I bring my pedal all the way around, and I kind of set it up here at this height so that I can turn and push my bike all the way up against the wall. These are a little bit trickier to get out because I have them behind, but even my high tower, which weighs 28 pounds or so, I can easily take it off, and I think it looks cool. So this is, in case you guys are bike guys, you probably know what this is, but this is a Specialized S-Works Crux gravel bike. This is a Santa Cruz Blur. This is this is now Michelle's bike duty, but this is a Yeti SB100, and then this is a Santa Cruz high tower. So then we also, in the garage, notice this thing here, since I'm over here in the corner. This is my main for the house. And I wanted to do a water softening system, and what they always do is just put it right here. Well, I can't put a big giant tub of salt in my fancy garage. And so we had to run some lines. So Mike came up with this idea. We did Uponor PEX, and then we bought our Prevost lines, which I really love looking at exposed Prevost, and just bought the 3-inch version so we could use it as a sleeve to run the water lines. You know, because above this is my home theater, the bonus room, it's not real accessible to run lines. And so we ran it through here, and then ran the sleeve down, and then the water punches out to my water heater and water tanks that are over there. I was just messing with this. I was programming some new remotes, is why these are flipped up. But these are the new, what they used to be called Lift After 8500. Now they're called some other model number. The new ones don't have a tensioner or like a separate tension sensor. It's all done digitally. I have a Mosmatic wand holder here. We actually started making our own wand holders. You'll like this. I'm going to swap that out with a black to match our wash station here. But this is going to replace here. So this is a crinkle coated, matches the sort of that sonic finish. So the black version we'll put on the wall there. And I like having 2 of them, so that way when I'm washing, I can kind of stow it. But the pressure washer system here, this is a prototype of the dual Krensla OG wash station. I actually just replaced the resin yesterday, but you can see here, There's a tank inside of here. It gives us the ability to do dual pressure washers. And then I also have a adjustable, so I can turn my hose reel out toward the use area. This is another thing that doesn't really exist that we've made. And then we have our valve system here. So this is a water treated, and then the treatments, the DI part can keep up with the higher flow, the pressure washers. A lot of the stuff that currently exists can't keep up with a dual setup. And it tells me my TDS incoming, my TDS outgoing. So more to come on this, probably later this year, next year. But we're hoping to be able to offer a wash station. The other problem that we've experienced with people is that you want to put your pressure washer in the wall, you want to mount your hose reel. None of these fit, a normal stud layout, and so you have to cut your drywall and block the wall, and you have to know how to do all that. Or this, we'll be able to ship you this thing, and you just level the feet, put one screw through the wall if you want to, or we have a cleat system where you can hang it, and all self-contained, all nice and neat and organized. But my Cox hose reel, OG spec hose, and then I would keep the PP plug in here, which will probably dribble some water out here. Yep. And so PP plug goes on the side, connect to my gun. I can turn DI water on and off. I turn my pressure washers on, turn the prior hose bib, quarter turn, and we're fully functioning. So I'm gonna do that for you right now. Turn it on, turn the pressure washers on, and we're ready to wash. I'll turn this to go to spot free water. I keep my built hammer gallon here, touchless, and we're good to go. Foam cannons, and then I get a osmotic wand holder here on the Slatwall. This is Pro Slat's plastic Slatwall, and it's functioning great. We made some. These are our new OG shelves. We're making these in stainless, T304, eventually T316, and then the black crinkle, powder coat. And we'll have Slatwall accessories as well, as you can just mount them to the stud. But these are already available. You can go to this on the site and order them if you want some black shelves. Currently, I need to do a little dusting here. But these are our Pressol Pro Series. The new, by the time you're watching this video, the new black bottles may be really close. So we'll have black and translucent. I've been working on these for years. One of the things that everybody freaks out about, I probably shouldn't point it out, but I'll help with the comments here, is that the air handler, so this door wasn't here. I wanted a man door because I keep this conditioned. And so we have a Mitsubishi, this is a 24,000 BTU mini split. And so the way a mini split works is there's a line set on the right side. So the line set has to run down the wall. And so we had already mounted the Mitsubishi before I even knew I was going to do a door. But you can't put the door in the middle of the line set, so the door has to be offset. One thing I could have done is maybe move the thing over to the right, or far left or far right. But this is where it made sense. I wanted it to be not right in line with the cabinets, but pretty close to it to give me nice even dispersion. And so if you look outside here, the line set runs down the frickin' wall right here. And so you can't just run it in the middle of the doorway. So stop freaking out. You don't know what you're talking about. I do. And so when you put the door in, that's how it has to go. And so I don't give a crap. I'm not looking at the darn air handle. I don't even notice it. I've got my Tesla charger here. My buckets sit right here. The only reason I put the buckets here and not next to the bucket filler is there's a stem wall, like a little slope out here. And so I've got my 24-inch bucket filler. So I'll roll the buckets over and put them in this position, but they sit much better right there. I do have attic access right there. We put an attic door in, so I do have attic space down the right side. And I got lucky. We had designed the attic door for the Pro Slats, but we'd forgotten that these are much deeper. So it actually works out okay, where it comes down right next to the cabinets. So we're good. Now, I wanted to put motorized stairs in like you've seen me do in other houses, but it wouldn't work because there's not enough room. Last couple things I'll mention in this garage, we have motion sensors, and I have just the center array here is set up on the motion sensor. So when the door opens, it turns the center array. When you walk in, it turns the center array, and then it'll time out. The reason why I don't turn all the lights on is like if you're coming in at night, you don't want it to be, you know, flame thrown bright because, you know, you're coming from dark to light. I like to have just a single row of lights that turn on. I'll show you real quickly here as I wrap up the room that we built. So this here was part of the garage. Notice the color temp is different. So you're going to 3500 from 5K. So the camera's probably going crazy on us right now. But this we converted into a mudroom. And so this, in order to get the wall that I needed for my cabinets, the original garage wall was here, and then you have the entry to the house, and then this was like a little open area that bumped in, and then you had the air handler and stuff for the air conditioner. And so for all this sort of breakup, what I decided to do was choose to do this doorway width, and then so I could get as much room as possible in the garage. And so then we turn this, we can't have a shed here in Middleton. And so this has become my shed, right? So I keep my Ego fan, my ladders, power cord reels. This is the under thing for my Evo I'm gonna put on, my Gorilla ladder for washing cars. And then this is where the air handler was. And we actually took the air handler out, moved it into the attic. So check this out, you guys will like this. So now this has become my shed, if you will. And so I put in a Rousseau spider shelf. This is where I keep all of my screws and stuff like that. So I keep a bunch of crap in here. I got some more organization to do. My floor jacks are in here, one on the bottom, one here. My air compressor's there. And so this has turned out to be super useful. So when I get like a new part for the car, it comes into this room. Keep my oil change stuff here so I don't have to go up in the attic. And this is a pretty robust room. You can see my vacuum system here. This is the 240 volt one that I'm testing out. I wouldn't recommend it. I think you should get the regular 20 amp, you know, normal 110 volt. That we do, the quiet version that we do, the Obsessed Garage version, but I've been testing this out to see how it functions. There's a lot going on in this garage, and I'm excited to share it with you. It was a lot of work for Mike and team to do, and I'm still got a lot of work to do on the organization, but I'm really pumped how it turned out. It feels right. Feels like home. It took me a couple of sets of cabinets to figure it out. But now it feels like my garage. I do intend to stick around here for at least a few years as my kids are in the school, a couple hundred yards that way. So I'll keep you up to date on the little updates and things that I do here. If you're not subscribed to the Matt Moorman channel, go check that out. That's where I do a lot of the longer form stuff. Like just the other day, we were organizing screwdrivers, and I made an hour and 20-minute video of us jerking around with that, so go check that out. And then we have a more specific channel that it's not so much me, but it's our customers and people that we know, our garage we've had a hand in, called the Garage Obsession channel, so make sure you subscribe to that as well. But hope you enjoyed this garage and the construction of it. The next garage series is me building my garage at HQ, so you'll want to check that out on this channel. Anyway, go check that stuff out. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoy the Middleton Garage series, and we'll be using this to continue to obsess over whatever I'm interested in. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of it. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.